Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the last class, we discussed about the equation of motion, the proving of the equation of motion using graph, right? So before I start the next topic, I want to ask, do you have any doubt? Did you face any problem while revising it at home? If you have, kindly raise your hand or you may unmute yourself and let me know.
No, sir.
Okay, nobody. Then we can start falling bodies. The next topic is falling bodies. Now, about this falling body, we already know, right? Because in SSC level, we have studied the laws of falling bodies. Didn't you?
Yes, we did.
Okay. So, who invented the laws of falling bodies?
Galileo.
Galileo. So, how many laws did he give?
3.
Three laws. Okay. Now I want to know the 3 laws from you. Okay. So Shiham, can you tell me what was the first law? Shiham, can you hear me? The first law says that all the body does not matter whatever is the mass of that. Okay. If I lift them from the same height, okay, without any resistance, without any force acting on them other than gravity. Only gravity will work on them, no other force will act on them. Then what will happen? All the body falling from the same height will cover same distance at the same time. That means when they will fall, they will be in the same line. They will fall side by side and they will reach the ground at the same time. Now, this is a little hard for us to imagine, right? Because if I tell you, the most common example that I already showed you a video of this, as I remember. If you leave a feather and an iron ball together from a certain height, what is supposed to happen? The iron ball will reach the ground first, and the feather will be taking some time to reach the ground, right? So both of them will not reach the ground at the same time. But here we are saying that they will reach the ground at the same time. Now, can you say where is the difference? What is the condition here that we need to?
Gravitational force.
Yeah, gravitational force is there in both the case, but some other force we need to talk about. We already said that
resistance
very good. Yeah, resistance. Okay, we already said that this law can be applied when no other force is acting other than gravity. Only gravity will act on them and no other force. But if there is air or any medium is there, then what will happen? A certain amount of resistance will be offered by that medium, right? So due to that resistance, the body of different masses have different capability of overcoming that resistance. So as a result, both of them will not be reaching the ground together. But if we do this experiment in vacuum or in space, okay, where no medium is present. So if I can do the experiment there and only gravity is acting on them, then what will happen? Both of them will cover the same distance at the same time and they will reach the ground at the same time. Okay. Now there is a video on that, okay, through which we can understand this very clearly. I think if you want, it's available in YouTube. You can see it. Okay, I already provided you the link ago. Okay, so if you want, you can still watch that video. So this is the first law. Now the second law says that starting from rest, the velocity of a freely falling body is directly proportional to the time taken. Velocity is proportional to the time. That means the time is doubled, the velocity will also be doubled. Let us say when the time was 2 seconds, velocity was 90.6. Okay. Now, when the time becomes 4 seconds, the time has become 2 times, right? So the velocity will also become 2 times. So it will be 39.2. Okay. So this is the relation. Same proportion. In the same proportion, the velocity will be increasing with time. Okay. So if the time is tripled, the velocity will also be tripled. That's how it goes. Okay. So from here, what we can write? We need to develop an equation from here, which we can use in solution of numerical example. So we know that if I want to replace this proportional sign with the equal sign, what will happen? I need to put a constant, proportionality constant. So t, if I change this side, then it will be k. It is constant. So if I take, let us say for t1, I got the velocity v1, it will be equal to k. Let us say for t2, I got the velocity v2, it will also be equal to k, because the ratio of velocity and time, it is equal to a certain constant, and constant is what? Something that doesn't change. That means doesn't matter whatever value of time and velocity you take here, but it has to be corresponding, right? You cannot take the time v2 but velocity v1. Okay, corresponding time and velocity has to be there. So for T2, if the velocity is T2, the ratio of them will be a constant, and here also the time T1, velocity V1, their ratio will also be a constant. So if both of them are equal to K, can I write from here that V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2? That means their ratio is always going to be a constant. This is what we get to know from here also, right? The ratio of velocity and time is always a constant. Now, not only for two cases, I can continue to write or extend the equation up to infinity if I want. Okay, how many I need according to my necessity. Okay. Okay, so this is there. Now the third law. Before I move to the third law, I want to make sure whether you have any doubt here. You want to ask any questions?
No, sir.
No. Okay, fine. So the third law says the distance traversed. Here we are talking about the velocity. The second law talks about the velocity, but the third law talks about the distance covered. If I leave the body from here, it will start falling, right? So as a result, it will be starting to cover some distance. Now this distance has a special relationship with the time. It is proportional to the square of the time. Okay, it is proportional to the square of the time. Let us see. From this, actually, we get to know that the relationship between the height and the time. Not height, actually, the covered distance. Here it is very important. Height and covered distance, they do not mean the same thing over here. For example, if this body is falling, let us say after some time the body is here and this is the ground. If I tell you that h denotes the height of this body, now height represents actually the distance from the ground, right? But here this h does not represent this ground. It is representing the covered distance. The body was initially here, now it is here. So the distance between the initial and final position, that is the covered distance, right? So this covered distance is represented by this h. Do not get confused. This does not represent the height from the ground. Rather, it represents the covered distance. Is it okay? Is my message clear? This is the covered distance. Okay. Now this changes to the square of the time. Okay, it is proportional to the square of the time. That means if the time is doubled, then the covered distance will become how many times? Can anybody tell me? I couldn't hear you, Lamia.
একবার রাইট টাইম যদি ডাবল হয় তো হাইট তো একবার হবে
Height?
মানে হাইট যতটুকু তার ডাবল হবে টাইম না
না না না আমি বলতেছি এখানে টাইমটাকে যদি আমি ডাবল করে দিই তাহলে হাইট কত টাইমস হয়ে যাবে যেমন আমরা ভেলোসিটি এন্ড টাইমের মধ্যে যে রিলেশনটা দেখছিলাম সেখানে দেখলাম যে ভেলোসিটি ইজ প্রপোর্শনাল টু টাইম so we know that if time is doubled velocity will also be doubled because this is directly proportional but here it is proportional to the square of the time so if time is doubled the height will become
more like 4 times
4 times very good because the square is there you should have known this already huh Because proportional to the square of the time. So if you double the time, if you make the time twice, then the height will become 2 square times. That means 4 times. If the time becomes 3 times, then the height will become
9 times.
9 times, because 3 square is 9. If the time becomes 4 times, then the height will become 4 square times. That is 16 times. Okay. So you must be very careful. Now sometimes actually the teachers do some trick. Here I am telling you that I'm asking you, if the time is made 4 times, then what will happen? The height will become 16 times. Sometimes they will reverse the question. They will tell you that the height has become 4 times, so the time will become
2 times.
2 times, because this time you need to reverse the operation. That means previously we were squaring the operation to get the relationship, but now as we are going in the reverse direction, we need to do the opposite operation of squaring, that is squaring root. Okay.
Yes.
So you need to be careful. Okay, you need to see from which direction you are going. In this case, nothing to worry, because it doesn't matter whether they tell you about the velocity. It will be the same with time, or if they tell you about the time, it will be the same for velocity also. But here it is not going to be the same. If I tell you that the time has become double, then what will happen? Height will become 4 times. But if I tell you the height has become 4 times, then you should be telling me that the time has become twice. Okay, now 4, height has become 4 times, square root of 4 will be, or else we can say, you can remember in this way also, if I square root on both the sides, it will be h is proportional to t. See, I did the square root on both the sides. Now I can say, if the height has become 4 times, then root over of 4 is 2. So the time will become 2 times. Be very, very careful. Okay, in the question, the teacher is going to play with your mind. So please be very careful. Okay. Acha. From here also, we want to develop a relationship or an equation. How can we do that? H will be equal to, if I want to place this equal sign, we know that we need to introduce our proportionality constant. So T H by T square is equal to K. Now from here we can see that the ratio of the covered distance and the square of time is constant. So from here I can write H1 by T1 square should be equal to H2 by T2 square should be equal to H3 by T3 square, and we can continue, right? So the ratio of the covered distance and the time square will always be a constant, and they are equal to each other. So using this equation also, we can solve several numerical problems. Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
Acha. Now these things were already known to you, right? Now whenever we are talking about falling bodies, we are actually talking about the motion in which direction, horizontal direction or the vertical direction. Whenever we are talking about a falling body, it is the vertical direction or the horizontal direction? Which direction?
Vertical.
Vertical direction.
Vertical.
Okay. Now in the vertical direction, which axis exists? Generally, we take in y-axis vertical direction, right? Keep it in your mind. We will put it into use in some time. Okay. Now, if you remember, as we know the equations of motions are there, it can be rewritten for the falling bodies. Okay. For the falling bodies, v equal to v naught plus at. This becomes v equal to v naught plus gt. Why gt? Because for a falling body, only one type of acceleration can be there, that is the acceleration due to gravity. Okay? Because whenever we are considering this falling body, we are considering that no other force is acting. No other force is acting, only gravity is acting. So due to this force of gravity, some acceleration will be there. We are going back to the very root of physics. If you remember, I already taught you that whenever there is some force acting on a body, then there will be some acceleration. Correct or not? If no force is acting or the summation of forces are 0, then there will be no acceleration, because we know that summation of force is equal to ma. If all the forces balance each other, the summation of force is 0, then ma will be equal to 0. Now whenever the product of two things is 0, what happens? Either one of them, at least one of them must be 0. We know that m, the mass of a body, can never be 0, but the acceleration can be 0. So from here we have to write that the acceleration a is equal to 0. So we saw that whenever the net force acting on a body is 0, the acceleration is 0, right? So here the only force that is acting on the body is gravity, and there is no counter force to balance that. So this is the only active force, right? That is gravity. Due to gravity, the acceleration will be crossed. We saw that whenever there is a force, there will be acceleration. If there is no force, no acceleration. But now there is a force, that is the force of gravity. So due to this force of gravity, our acceleration will be caused, which we know acceleration due to gravity. Okay, and that is represented by g, and the value of that is 9.8 meter per second square. Okay. So the second equation, it was s equal to v naught plus b divided by 2 into t. It is actually they replace this s by h. Okay, it represents the covered distance, not the height. Please remember. Okay, actually I feel safer to use this s only. Okay, because h sometimes makes you confused whether it is being used as height or the covered distance. If you remember in watt power energy, whenever we calculate the potential energy, we write this equation mgh. Here the h represents what? Can anybody tell me? Nurnabi, can you tell me?
Height, sir.
Height, the height from the ground. So you might mix this h with this one, okay? Here the height represents the covered distance. The h represents covered distance, but here it represents the height from the ground. So you need to have a very clear idea. So that is why I suggest whenever you use or you mean to use the covered distance, you represent it with s, and whenever you mean to represent the height from the ground, that time you use h. Okay, that will help you to avoid the confusion. Acha. Then the third equation can be rewritten. Third equation is s equal to v naught t plus half at square. It will become half gt square. Okay, the acceleration will become g. And the fourth equation, v square equal to v naught square plus 2gh. Here h is the covered distance. Again, I would like to suggest you to use s over here. Okay, to represent that it is the covered distance, not height from the ground. I don't think here we have anything more to. Oh, one more thing to discuss. That is, in case of falling body, when the body is falling towards the ground, the velocity is increasing or decreasing every moment. Can anybody tell me?
So what is your question?
The question is, when the body is falling towards the ground, okay, from a certain height, the velocity is increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Increasing. So the value of g, this acceleration will be positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. Very good. Okay. So be careful when the body is falling. It is plus 9.8 Newton per second square. But when I'm throwing a body in the upward direction, the acceleration will be positive or negative. The velocity will be increasing or decreasing. I want to know that first.
Decreasing.
Decreasing, because when we throw a certain body in the upward direction, the gravity or the force of gravity is acting in the downward direction. So the gravity will pull it back, right? It will try to stop it. So as a result, what will happen? The velocity will decrease. And if the velocity is decreasing, we know that it is deceleration, and deceleration is negative acceleration. So the value of g you need to put in this equation minus 9.8. Okay? This one, keep it as plus, just change the sign of g as your necessity, as your situation, okay, according to your situation. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now on in page number 139, we have an extended activity, okay, that is regarding the maximum height. If I throw a body in the upward direction, it will reach a certain height, right? Okay, and the velocity will keep decreasing, but before the body fully stops, that means the velocity becomes 0 or it stops going in the upward direction, it will cover a certain height, right? That is called the maximum height. How to calculate that? It is given here, okay? As far as I can remember, this one also I discussed with you in SSC level, even though it was not included in your book. But for some purpose, we used it for solving creatives, right? No problem.
Yes.
I will show you the derivation again. Acha. So the equation that we will be using is d square equal to v naught square plus 2g, the maximum height, so it will be considered as h max. When the body is going in the upward direction, that time the covered distance and the height from the ground is the same thing. If you think about it, okay, from the ground I have thrown a body in the upward direction. Now, if the body is now at this point, then what is the covered distance? This is the distance. Again, this is height from ground also. So when the body is going in the upward direction, you can use h, no problem. Okay. So h max, what does h max mean? That from the ground and going to a certain point, the velocity will become 0. It will not go to any point above that anymore, right? So that is the maximum height. Okay. So how can we calculate the maximum height? What is the condition at the maximum height? The velocity is 0. The final velocity is 0. So if I replace the final velocity v as 0 here, 0 square will be equal to v naught square plus 2g h max. So from here, we can replace this v naught square. If I change the side, minus v naught square, then it will be 2g h max. Then h max, this one is equal to, I can write minus v naught square divided by 2g. Now you might be thinking how a height can be a negative value. Height can never be of a negative value, and indeed it will not come a negative value. Why? Can anybody tell me why? How this minus here is going to be balanced?
Choir.
অ্যাক্সিলারেশন যেহেতু উপরে উঠতেছে, সো অ্যাক্সিলারেশনটা মাইনাস হবে, মাইনাসে মাইনাসে কাটা যাবে। আরেকটা হচ্ছে যে ইউ স্কয়ার, তো ইউ তো স্কয়ার, সো স্কয়ার স্কয়ার।
No, that is not the case. Okay, v naught এর যে ভ্যালু সেটা তুমি এখানে বসাবা। Let us say v naught is 3 meter per second, so we will replace 3 square, but the minus is going to be there. I think what you are talking about is minus v naught whole square. If the situation is like this, then the minus will be vanished because it is inside the bracket. But what minus we are talking about here is minus v naught whole square. That means minus is outside. So even though you have whatever value you put here, this minus is going to be there, right? So this minus will be there. This is going to be balanced by the first reason that you say, okay, the value of g. As the body is going in the upward direction, the value of g you are going to replace by minus 9.8. So this minus and this minus are going to be balancing each other, and as a result, the height you will get a positive value. Okay, so v square we can actually write, ignoring the minus, you can write this equation, or you can use this equation, v naught square divided by 2g. This is the equation. So what is the information that you need to find out the h max or the maximum height? What is the information? Only one information is needed.
ইউ I mean v naught.
V naught, that is the initial velocity. With what velocity you have thrown the body in the upward direction? That velocity, if that information is known, that is enough to find out the maximum height. Because g we already know, right? Is it clear? If anybody have any doubt, raise your hand. Nobody. Okay. Then we will talk about the time required to reach the maximum height. The time required. Achha. Now, the equation that we used a little bit ago was this one: v square equal to v naught square plus 2gh. There is no t here, right? No time is there. So for sure, whenever we are calculating the time, we cannot use this equation. Okay, so we'll have to take help from any other equation. The first equation that we know, V is equal to V naught plus GT, right? Now, as we know, the body is going in the upward direction, the value of G, it is going to be replaced by minus 9.8. So that minus and plus, this will be minus, okay? প্রথমে replace করে দিই because পরে আমি একটু কাটাকাটি যাবে. So from here, if it is Tmax, that means the time required to reach the maximum height. At the maximum height, the velocity, final velocity is 0. So from here, if I change the side of Gtmax, then I can write Gtmax is equal to V naught, and Tmax is equal to V naught by G. Again, if I know the initial velocity with which the body has been thrown in the upward direction, I can easily calculate the time required to reach the maximum height, inshallah. Right? Okay. Now this is the time required to reach the maximum height. Okay, just only to go in the upward direction. Now the body is not going to stay there, as we know. Okay, as the gravity is acting on it, the body is going to fall back to the ground. So the time required to go in the upward direction is equal to the time required for the body to come back. Okay, that means the body will take this much amount of time to go in the upward direction. After that, again this much amount of time to come to the ground. So if I calculate the total time the body was in the air, that means as soon as I threw the body was in the air, and it went up, and then again it came to the ground. So the total time taken should be V naught by G plus V naught by G. That is 2 V naught by G. Okay, this is the total time, and we know this is mentioned as the time of, you know this is the time of
Flight.
flight. Very good. Time of flight. Time of flight. Excellent. Okay, this is the time of flight. The body took off from the ground, and then again it came back. In between the required time is time of flight. So always remember the time of flight is double of the time to reach the maximum height, because the similar amount of time it is going to take to come back to the ground. Okay, so this is there. And time of flight, this is represented by capital T. Okay, capital T. Other than that, do we have anything? No. Then we have another extended activity, that is the vector form of equation of motion. Inshallah, we will be talking about that in the next class, inshallah. So we have only 3 or 4 minutes time left. So rather we not start any next topic today, because we will not be able to finish it. So better we will start in the next class. So before we finish this class, I want to ask you for the last time, okay? Do you have any question on whatever we learned today?
No, sir.
Okay, or you have any suggestion that how the class can be, done in a better way or taken in a better way? Do you have any suggestion, as we are doing online class? I am getting this comment from many of the parents and students, not only for my class, actually for all the classes, okay, that online classes are not as much as effective as you learn in the in-person teaching, okay, face-to-face teaching. Now this is okay, I agree, but it depends on you. Actually, it depends on you, it depends on me. If I am teaching properly, you can see me, you can hear me, and if you are serious, okay, and if you are attentive in the class, then I don't think there is any issue, because whatever doubt you have, you have the opportunity to ask me, and I have the opportunity to answer it back to you, right? So not much difference from face-to-face class, right? So if there is seriousness in you and in me, then there is no problem. This is what I feel, okay? So still, if you think that we should be doing something else, okay, we can do this to make the class better, then you may suggest me. I will happily accept. If there is any problem also regarding the class, you can just let me know. always like to hear about classes from students, be it a positive thing or be it a negative thing. Okay, you can tell me whatever you feel about the class. Nobody have any suggestion thing? Okay, no problem. Whenever I ask you, it happens that suddenly nothing comes to your mind. Okay, so later also, if you find anything that yes, sir, if you do this, then the class will be better. You always have the liberty to let me know through WhatsApp. Okay, I will be waiting for your solution. Okay, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. See you in the next class, inshallah.